Thank you for joining the Dynamo Art Talks. This is a very special evening because we have like an in-the-house artist. So thank you for joining. I'd like to introduce you, if you don't know already, Angela and Sergio. Sergio Araya and Angela Osterwalder. Their artistic practice deals with feminism, the post-colonial ecology and pop culture that overcomes the boundaries between species, gender and nature. In their practices they use mixed media such as sculpture, installation, video and sound. The artists duo work as well at Dynamo, where they develop projects about alternative economic models and modes of reproduction, like this weekend the Schaustelle Market. They currently study at the Master in Fine Arts at the CHDK, and they are founders of the Klara Kiss ZIP Off-Space. Their work has been shown in several institutions, among others Die Stral 500 Years Reformation University Zürich, at the Kaserne Zürich, at Khora Zürich, the Arrival Lattich St Gallen, in between Deaths also Zürich, in the Literatur Telefon Strauhof, and the Biennale Tacharia-Square in Athens. So enjoy the talk, and please keep your notes with questions so that you can approach the questions to the artist at the end. Thank you very much. And if you'd like to have a drink after, we have a small bar here. So.
Yeah. Hi together. Thank you, Anne, to having us here today night. I think we're starting with some projects, so there's some works we do in the last 1.5 years. And Anna say, my name is Sergio Araya, and this is Angela Osterwalder, and we work first of all in a collective, like 3 years. But we work also in the context of the money jobs and not in the institution, also together, and we make some other projects in the fields of I say what do you want to say? I mean
yeah, in fields also of arts with social aspects. Mostly back in the days, we did a lot of those projects. Also in relation to our job in Dynamo, we always working like with creative elements, also music, dance, etc. And try to build also out of these communities, build platforms to meet each other. So basically, I was a dancer back in the days. Yeah, and in that way, I really could very well connect people and bring them together. That breakdance platform over there, I started with, and the idea was to have an open place just for everyone to come who's interested in dancing. And we exchange, and also we teach each other basically dancing all together. So, and now we did first the bachelor in fine arts, also on the Zurich ZHDK. We finished last summer and move already to the master. So, as first I want to say something generally about our work. Anne also said already some things. Maybe we do now double, sorry for that. But I also have to read a lot because, yeah, about my English, I feel more safe to read.
And also that we forget a lot to say, and this is a good thing to prepare or be prepared to show you the work.
Yeah, and also sometimes to work together. It's nice. Some things are easier to do in collaborations and collective work. You have maybe in materiality and research, you have more capacity, but also sometimes to organize each other is also another part which takes a lot of time and also organization. that works sometimes very well, sometimes it's a bit difficult. So that's why we have also making a plan for tonight. We hope it works for you guys. Otherwise, you have on the end time to question us. Okay, so I start. In our works, we use different media, such as installation, sculpture, video, and sound installation. Often we work with found footage, material in sound, movies, and objects too. We address issues of both personal and public importance, in particular a feminist and post-colonial position on ecology, gentrification, and pop culture, which seeks to break the boundaries between species, gender, and nature, as well as to discuss them comprehensively. The works questions connection within social and ecological constellations and deals with non-human and human aspects. We questioning also privileges and ask the viewer to change their perspective. Influence in our works are the cats we live together, birds on our balcony, they coming and going, foxes passing by, humans and plants around us, our garden, in generally all non-humans, discussions and exchanging with people, friends and artists, sound and noises produced by terra sempervirens, sci-fi authors like Ursula Le Guin and Octavia Butler. Of course, also a lot of influence we have from our organizations. We organize talks, exhibitions, events, and as well our work in Dynamo. So now we want to go to our first work, which was our diploma work and has shown on the highlights on ZHDK in Zurich.
Yeah, this work we're showing in July. This is July this year, 2018, and the name of this work is Kin. And you see here an installation in front with different mediums. You can see here screens, also hanging screens, 3 times in a triangle hanging. Sculptures on the floor and gratings, and you see the sculptures here in detail. And what we're using here is some polyurethane, is a plastic formed to create this. We say them ships or motherships or spaceships, whatever. And a part of the round objects are made by silicone. And the size of this installation is 4 to 3 meters. And you see this architecture parts of objects. They are colored with different pigments where we research and try out to bring this aesthetic in this building. So in the middle you see this pink object under the grating, and this object here in the front is a Morse code, a communication signalation, one of the first communication forms. There no more actually exists, but I mean we use it, and that way exists. And you want to say about the communication? We show it.
Yeah. So in our work generally is also always the question about the language and the talk and how we can communicate with each other, and also in a way of non-human connection is always, I think, the problem, the gap between also the language and what we what we called basically language. So there are a lot of animals, they talking over signals, and we think that has a bit something to do with Morse signs. Of course, that's a totally human concept, and you can see in front of our table is this Morse code pad, which we use in this installation. We also researched in science journalism for this work. There is playing stuff from found footage as well. And also we use found footage from very popular movies. Two of them you will see afterwards. That is the text, what you see now, that's the text we found in research, which is explaining the microorganism way of really being organized and being very very survival. I mean, you can read it maybe. We give you a little time to read it. So. You can read it? Okay. So those writing is connect with the objects on the platform. They are the silicon objects, the round ones, which we have seen before. They are basically showing certain. It's a mix of two microorganisms. One is the cyanobacterium, which is very long, exists. One of the first microorganisms. They already producing our Sauerstoff, air, basically. And the other ones are the tardigrades, which are very resistant. So they call them also, they have like an alien gene inside. And our work is also dealing with sci-fi. And we now, I think, want to move to our next image, the movie. The first is here on 412. Yes, so this footage is from the movie The Silent Running, which is an eco sci-fi from the 1972 from Douglas Trumbull. And it's very early sci-fi, and I mean, there are not that much, and I think, or how when we research, the only one which is still in 72 with ecological issues, and it's a very dystopic one in a way, but what us interests was the making of. So in that movie we deal with making of, and we interest in the way how robots are animated, or how robots can move. And I mean, they get actors for this job. They have to play the robots.
Yeah, but in a way, it's also that human being try to simulate, I say, a fiction of walk or shape of moving like a machine or like a cyborg. And you see these movies from the 72, you say? 72, 73. Yeah. And and I mean, we think about it that it's nothing changed. I mean, we got also after this part of footage another sequence of a film that comes out in the 2014, 2015.
2014.
And yeah, you want to see
Yeah,
right
that
now?
one is very well known. It's the Interstellar from 2014 from Christopher Nolan. The same situation. I mean, it's a new one. It's a new production. Interesting is also when I saw it, I thought it's totally animated, but it's not. There is an actor behind which has just be responsible for this rule. Also, Christopher Nolan says he want to have an actor because he wants to humanize a robot that we viewer get in contact already.
Yeah, and in this picture you see that somebody got to drive this this machine named Stars, and yeah, there's a human behind this whole yeah, making to make it possible to run this machine and to bring it to us.
So in a way, is a combination of humans and machines. Also, like in a production of popular movies, and also, I mean, we question also the production of popular movies because they want to show us. They have some narrations. They want to tell us something, and mostly they have very common issues they talk about. But also a lot of them, they always have this construct of fighting something, fighting against the aliens, or the aliens fighting the humans. So that is really a construct which we also questioning. And I think in that way we can build a new narration. Then we see, okay, humans and the machine is already really connected and very, very close to each other. So this is also what us interests, how we can break through these borders to these differences, how we can break with them. And yes, and
So
then we have a next footage we want to show you. All this footage playing on this triangle screen, and they turning also around. So they're moving from one to the other screen. The text and this making of sci-fi, and now the dancing scene.
Yeah, but to show you quickly, we play these movies in the one lower area, and here the other part of the screen still black. And so we go to the next footage that we play, and this footage is from a competition. I think in
Just Debut.
Just Debut is a
In
big
France.
is in France, Paris, and this actor here is Mr. Wiggles from New York, and he tried to imitate the machine, but in the way their performance or make a performance, and he learning or invest a lot of time to imitate something there. He think there is I don't know a way to move his body to the people to want to see this is perfect or not. I mean, in the way to see his arms or their legs or hands or head, this whole body information or movement is looks easy, but I mean in the way it's really hard to imitate something that goes in this field.
So it seems to us, or also to me as a dancer, what I was before, he's searching for the machine in his body and bring him out, bring him to make him visible. And also the hands are very important because it's a language. With his hand, he has a certain kind of language. He talks to us. That's also a way, again, of using another form of language and talking over signs. Yes. So just to tell you, maybe to make it a bit clearer, what we have think in this work and what we're questioning was Kin questioned the traditional and Western concept of kinship and family, and suggests opening, expanding, and redefining it. We deal in this work with cyborgs and motherships influenced by science fiction writers such as Octavia Butler. This installation shows an assemblage of precarious bodies as well as cultures from different eras, abstract spaceships, microorganisms that are especially viable bodies in reality and from the sci-fi world. They neither human nor machine, or popping steps that come from a Latino and Afro-American pop culture tradition. We blur the boundaries in this work between human, non-human, and robots. We are looking for concepts which in daily use create an approximation, which do not separate but bring together. Then we also deal with words. In that work, they are just coming to us beside of our work, but they always coming up in other works too. There is one which is very important to us. It means it's become common. Then one in German, which is in Verbindung stehen, in Verbindung treten, in Verbindung sein, Verbindungen einzugehen, and to build relationship. So that's very important, I think, to us in our work, not just always point on the on differences. So that's, I think, very easy or very happen oft in our 2 days, that we take positions and we fight for our. I mean, when we talk about we, it's sometimes we both, but also like in a way of a main society discourse. And sometimes it looks for me that we are all so in our things, and it's difficult to jump over and come together. And yeah, so that is also what is going on in our minds. So then we move to our next work.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible somebody got a question or...
no, I think we do on the end.
Okay. Yeah, okay, we step to the next work. This is also, we say them produce or making. This was another work in the combination with another artist. The artist's name is Florian German. He's teacher also in the school in the CHDK in Zurich, and he got he do a job, or he do installation for the University of Zurich, and I want to show you quickly the pictures about it, and after that so this is the situation there. You see the people that come from another fields. There are from scientists, musicians. I mean, people from everywhere. And what we doing here was hold on 1 minute. Right. This work stand in a question that this artist Florian German come to us and say, we get a big presentation to do in this University of Zurich, and it is possible to collaborate together and make a sound piece for his sculptures he presented in this room. You see it here. You see this sculpture here on the right side. A sculpture with water inside, and this big sculpture on the left side. And it was funny that we got this year the 500 year of Reformation of Zurich, and the city of Zurich make a big cup about this, and invited a lot of people from this field of Reformation. So and we come together. We go to this atelier. We saw his finish or his pieces in a process. They wanna installate in this room you see here in the university. So and I mean the topic was 500-year Reformation, and the way to ask to build a sound piece in collaboration with his object. And for me was a new topic, or for us was a new topic to understand and to building something together, and also in a way to perform, and so and we bring the inputs we think about it to bring it together and perform this sound piece at this night. And I can show you quickly.
Can I say quickly maybe what about was? I mean the Florian Germann, what his intention was in that piece. The installation, Die Stral, thematized the lightning strike of 1572 in Zurich Großmünster. The impact symbolized the coming changes during the Reformation. The sound footage works with the temporality of then, today, and the future, as well as the associate of selves, and relates to the visual and auditory moments of the film. Maybe you can show.
Yeah, I can show you this piece. We try it to bring it together in a form that we going inspired from topics of sci-fi movies. Also, and we try to take elements from different parts of this images and bring it to the sound file, and you can hear it. Yeah, and so on. I mean, this sound file makes like 7 minutes, and in the beginning was a huge of sounds pieces that we got, and we worked like like for a week in this constellation to put these sounds together. And I mean, this was like sounds, there was pieces like 3 seconds or 2 seconds, and you see over 7 minutes we going crazy to make a composition, or we try to make a composition, but in the end I was so confused, or we was confused to end it, to make an end, and to last or left this part of working. That I mean, we try to looping, we try different sequences to put it together, or make a pause, or make it louder, or put a filter inside to looping. I mean, at the end we do a construction of, I don't know, was a random story behind this constellation that we bring after this time together, and I mean, at the end I can listen more for a week, and after I try to listen what we produce here in this in this time, and after that to present it in front of people. I mean, it was like, I don't know, 200 people there or more, or I don't know. And yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think we move on.
What I try to say is a short piece, but at the end was a long time that we invested to bring this file together, and yeah.
Just to say, the footage or the sound footage is from Terminator, basically, which also plays with past and today and future.
But not only. I mean, we take also some old vinyl material there we got, and also in context to techno basics of hip hop elements from the 80s, and you, also I can show you another part here. That's really nice to hear it. It's possibly important to hear it also. You can make louder, please. That's it.
So we move now to 2031, bit to the future. That's the title of our next work, which is the Declaration of Earth Rights. So we exhibit this in the Lagerhalle, which is next to the train station in St. Gallen. Today is not used in that way anymore, so they do cultural stuff inside of this Lagerhalle, which is a huge place, and which was very nice to do something inside, because we have good conditions in dimensions, with the dimension inside of this. It was a group exhibition. So the transition from the industrial to the technological age means that much is in the process of dissolution and is being reconstituted. In a scenario, human self-images is put to the test in 2031, because the Earth wants to contact negotiations. It is about the urges of a fundamental Earth right with which she can currently represent her concerns and personal interests. 2031 works with the method of assemblage, which point out how complex, difficult to understand circumstances are, and at the time, how accessible and connecting terra sempervirens is. So, here we have, here you can see the whole picture from the front side.
Yeah, the installation
Yeah,
we're building it like in a day or the 2 days in this big hall. First of all, we come in this hall inside and we say, my goodness, it's so big. What we do with this whole place, and so we got to think about it, about a new composition to show this whole installation. I mean, and at the end, we do the best about to put these elements of ceramics or the whole flying objects on the left side, and also the beaming on this white wall, and how big we can use this wall that normally we never exhibit in sizes like this, and
yeah. And also it was a very technical thing. We had a lot of techniques inside which sometimes didn't work. Yeah, and that's also sometimes a bit it takes energy, because we deal with techniques which we often not understand in the beginning. So about our work, we have to learn about the technical issues and to use and to work with. And I think that's good to work also together, because we can always help each other out. I mean, I think I also worked, of course, alone, but sometimes you really stuck and end in something. So this work, the material and research of this work are based on interactive 3D animation, sound, film, text, science journalism, found footage, light, and abstract objects made from silicon, polyethylene, epoxy plast, and plexiglass. The size was about 10 to 10 to 7. Yes. So also this assemblage, I think we have a bit to talk about our using of assemblage, because I think we really work with this topic of assemblage. Is for us, we bring objects, we bring visualizations together and try to make the viewer to look and figure out how he can connect this. I think in a topic, when you work with this issue of terra sempervirens, or the bioplanet, I mean, that's so a complex thing. And we humans sometimes, I think, can just understand a few or part of it. And we try always to bring it together, but I think it's so immense thing. And often we end up, and we cannot see the complexity of this bioplanet. And I think with our work is a bit the same. So we put to you people objects and material, and it's on you to bring them somehow together. And I think it's also about the interpretation, and also to be free to interpretate and find some connections for yourself. I mean, this is something which in our works oftenly is the nice part, to research and start to understand, this thing fits with another thing, which is like really a nice experience. So, yes.
Yeah, and also what we're talking about, I mean, first of all, I can talk for my part in this piece. It was also difficult to contextualize some elements of this piece, and to find out this, wie sagt man
Example.
Yeah, like an example. You see this, I don't know, body cyborg part that reflect with lights, and I mean, before we building before and after that we contextualize, and we bring it together, and I mean this border, to break this border, to explain what we're doing there. at this time was difficult, and also a good experience that we're producing, and we make like a series of this element here, and at the end this fits, and also with this little parts inside, you see this plastic part to mix it with this industrial part together, and with slides, and with this iron part of so they are so different elements there. At the end we say, yeah, we can work with this or not.
And also to use such materials, I mean, that we can also question, and we also question this all the time, but I think we live in a time where we really work, and we use to that materials too, in a way that we also see the difficult aspects of it. And I think we are now in a time where we really somewhere between. So to work with this is also just how you say, it's just an image of our times, what we're dealing now. Ja, diese Inkonsequenz. Also, I mean, to work with all these questions of ecological stuff and of Nachhaltigkeit, it's really to question it, but I think it's also a picture of this time. And I think also not just we can, in a moment, I mean, as a society, cannot just stop and go from one to the other. That's not possible. I think that is a transformation which takes time, or needs time to go into it. So we want to show you.
Hold on a moment. So I want to say that you can see here 17 of these hooks, and the size you tell it is like 10 of 10, 7 meters, and these flying objects here, and also text material that we grave it in the plexiglass, and we can show also this small footage here. There we focus it from a beamer, from the floor to the flying elements. You want to show this movie quickly?
No, I think
okay.
We also a bit in time stress. We have really to continue search. I just want to read you now the text for this work, because explaining what the terra sempervirens mean. The text was also so in the exhibition. The earth is a living thing. Mother unknown, father unknown, gender not clearly definable. Yes, the earth lives. It is a living being, a species not unlike that of microorganisms, plants and animals. We would like to call this magnificent, round, green, rich creature and species named Terra sempervirens. Terra sempervirens is a living thing. Their lifespan is unknown. The genesis is legendary, like that of the Minotaur. Their organization, their metabolism, their psyche are only vaguely known. The earth is a natural body. Vernadsky has postulated an aura of reason for the global system Earth. Reason is a human word, unless we accept that one bacterium, one human, one planet has the same degree of reason. We will not understand the Earth. The speed of the transfer must have slowed down since the Earth's use, while the amount of energy and mass transferred increased. This is evidenced by an increase in crustal thickness and biological complexity. The Earth is a biota, a bioplanet, or as the living thing, Terra sempervirens, has matured. If energy pressure were to decrease from the outside, sinking instead of currently increasing solar energy, it could also age. Be simpler, less complex, less structured, and die, and reproduce before, but how? So that was the text which you could see on this platform, which is hanging and flowing, and this is the animation, the 3D animation. Maybe quickly a picture. We're not going to show the film. I think we don't have time now.
Also, we got time, I think.
No, we don't. We have 10 minutes left.
Also, I want to show you the
Sorry, we have
quickly.
to move on. Come on, don't do it.
2 seconds.
Okay.
I mean, it's important to see it. I mean, this was this. I don't know. This was a important part. We bring together and we take volume, please.
You guys look clearly. Can you hear me? Спасибо. Hear you loud and clear, Sally. Welcome and greeting. Apparently we don't yet have a video signal, so just let me shout as soon as you're ready. When you're ready, Sally. We spent the first couple of hours getting oriented to the station after the Suez, which is tiny, very, very, very small. The station feels like a cruise liner by comparison, and in 3D, where you can see the world from any angle. It takes a long time to find your bearings.
So the sound, what you hear now, is from the space. It's from the Apollo 10. They fly around before the Apollo 11 came, the moon landing, and there was a certain kind of point where the connection to the Earth breaks up, and then they had these noises. They could hear these noises, and they could not really. They don't know what it is, and NASA keep those noises till 2011. And then they make it official. So, I mean, we seen that noise also like a certain kind of language, an Earth language, which is just hearable out in space. But that's an interpretation, that's a narration.
And about
even they don't know what it is, basically. From the scientists don't know what it is.
And about the footage we recorded and make film screen recording directly on the screen from the Macintosh, and these animations comes from interactive 3D animation of the Earth wind map. So you can go and put this in, and you see it. What's going on? I don't know, in Bahamas or in Moscow or in Zurich, and you can go also with your file and searching what kind of weather we want to have tomorrow, or what kind of hurricane want to catch us if you go tomorrow to Spain or the Dominican Republic or Chile or whatever, all over the world. And these images we recording at this time. This was, I think, February 2018 or something. And this is a short recording from these days.
Yeah, and it's also interesting how the visualization of this tool explaining the Earth, basically. I mean, I think we cannot I cannot really see the Earth behind of it, but gives you a certain kind of seeing the activities of the Earth. I mean, the visualization. And sometimes I ask me, bring that us closer to the Earth, or broke up with the connection to the Earth. All these technologies and possibilities we have over these tools, what they gonna do with us? That's the question. Yeah. So I think we move on to our. We have now two smaller ones. So we move to our survival instructions for pigeons. So survival instructions for pigeons is a work which is a long one piece of a long-term series which called ZIP. And can you bring an image, please? It was also an exhibition in a hall in Oerlikon. This is a Zwischennutzung. Different people have there some small businesses in it, and we came to that place to install the work, and we saw their living pigeon inside of this
in industrial building
environment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're sleeping there daytimes they go out, but I think it's a comfortable place for them. They are like safe somehow, and it's dry. So our work now, what you can see in front, it's about 20 meters long. In front, you see a small screen with a back projection. Then you have, we put some feeding food to the ground.
You can see here these brown ones.
Yes, and in front of this work you have an Feldstecher. So you watch this work or this screening through the Feldstecher basically, but you can also walk the long way, and you can watch to the small screen, which is about 10 to 8 centimeters. So this is the view through the Feldstecher.
Well, you can can say Feldstecher in English. I mean,
no, come on. Binocular.
Yeah.
Binocular. Thanks. So, yeah, the work has to do with situation in Zurich City. What happens now? About 15 years that pigeons get killed systematically. Back in the days, they get killed mostly about poison, which was very painful and a long way to die. And afterwards, they start to shoot pigeon almost in the morning when we not wake, so around 5 or 6. I have when the daylight in the summer coming. So they want to make the population smaller because pigeons shit on houses and destroy.
Yeah, and
basically
and this object also we got in this building. Near in the next room a gymnastic room. There are a lot of masculine boys make training, and they say, oh, this pigeon shitting on my what we say them
train space.
Yes, train space. We want to kill him, and we say, what?
Why there is nobody coming and
we say
solve this situation? So, but okay, and so that's why we thought we really have to develop, or we have to make a work for the pigeons and give them some survival instructions in hand. Yeah. So. So in a way, this work is one. There is one more. It's called. We're not going to show you now, but it's called survival instruction for sea fish. And the video, I think we can show a small part from the video footage.
Where we get the footage, I don't know.
No?
Hold on a minute. Oh, I got it here. Yeah. Yeah.
So also it's a found footage, it's an animation of basically of hunting weapons. And we used that and I mean, the pigeon maybe can see how that system of shooting and time works together. So if they know, they can fly slower or faster or higher or maybe not, maybe change, or maybe already fly away. Yeah.
Yeah, at the end he dies.
No, they don't die, hopefully. So, and I think we can move already to our last work, which is the newest one. We exhibit 1 week ago in the Hamlet. And it's also just a work which is really in process. I mean, it's not finished. We think we have to continue in that. It's a nuclear shelter for non-humans. Yeah, we're building in that work an application for construction recourses. The project is 120 centimeter of 150 centimeter to 120 centimeter. The shelter is on the end is 20 to 15 to 20 centimeters, very small in relation to the shelter, because the wall of the shelter needs 50 centimeter to protect you from nuclear Strahlung. Yes, and on the one hand, the work takes influence of human building activities on the environment, and on the other hand, also on the gentrification of the environment, which is very much always turned to human needs in cities almost, not just in cities, also outside of cities. So it's just really quick. We want to end. I think we want to end here, because I think, yeah, it's like.
Yeah, I mean, this is the one picture we got from this exhibition. There, we go there. It was a Sunday in the evening, and it was also hard to bring this piece in the rooftop upstairs. There was not enough space to bring it this piece to this balcony outside. And yeah, but this is the only position we get from this piece in process.
Yeah. So, and maybe quickly also to show you what our influence from artists are. It's on one hand it's Ramelsey, which is a very important to create a new artistic way and theory called Gothic futurism, which was details anarchic, planned by revised to rule and develop of language in society. He created a new alphabet, and in relation to it, a new form of visualization. He also brought elements from the hip-hop movement to Gothic futurism. He is a very strong influence, because he also questioned the language, and he saw the language mostly as something very strong. And he really wants to develop the language which also connect people and also bring up a new way of Sensibilisation and also Sichtweisen auf das Zusammenleben. Seeing how we live together, how we can live together. Yes, and he did this also over performances. He created, how I say, this alphabet, which is totally different from our non-alphabet. So also the question of language, again, is very important, and I think he did a very nice work and long-term work and research in that. Another one is the forensic architectures, which founded by A.L. Weizmann. It's a research group which reconstruct war and torture scenes. They build 3D models and maps, provide the status of forensic evidence that can be used in court to prosecute crimes against humanity. I think that's very interesting, because art is is a way that it's really a way of activism also in arts, and it's used really from NGOs. The footage sometimes they create, they used in NGOs, and used for Kurds, and also they get shown in galleries and museums. I think that's very interesting. And also, of course, Hito Steil, which is a very great artist, filmmaker, and writer. She's also a performer, and we very like her lecture performances too. Yeah, and then we have that's the Sonra Orchestra and George Clinton also, which is always on our way, also in our artistic practicing. Yeah, so here we end. Thanks for listening, for your time. And now we give Anne the word.
Does it work? Yeah, now it works. So thank you so much for your presentation. It's very inspiring. I took a series of questions, and I also like to invite you to please share your questions. It's very important for us that you engage in the presentation, because of course it's a dialogue. And I mean, I'm basically just moderating and really inviting you. I like to comment you. I mean, I wrote some in my notes some questions, comments in chronological order from the beginning of your works. I had impression that the science fiction film footage that you present us brings somehow narratives of aesthetics of the humanization of robotics, and somehow the zones of the Anthropocene, like some sort of Anthropocene landscapes, which is the human domination to the environment. And but what I truly want to ask you, because I'm totally curious, I've been thinking a lot about what does it mean to share authorship. I think immediately of partners, couples producing. Comes to my mind Jake, Santinos Chapman, Fishley and Weiss, Lang and Baumann, Huber and Huber from Zurich, or Christians and Jean-Claude, and so on. And for me, it's a very it's a triggering question. How do you share authorship? If you would like to share us about your process of producing, and how do you came into this thing? If we could say I mean, would you describe it as a complicity of concepts? Maybe, I don't know.
That's a good question.
So you mean authorship to share with the public or to share with
No,
each other?
I mean, you guys are a collective, and somehow I wonder, it's quite a statement to produce, you know, such a of course it's a complicity, and I was trying to describe it. How do we describe it? Is it like a concept complicity? And then my question is more, if you will share us, how do you work how do you work together? You know, how do you came to I mean, sharing authorship means this objective description of you're not independent authors. You are one entity in your work. You know, you are this duo, and of course you keep individually your name, but you are merged in one entity, which is your alter ego of art producers. And I found it fascinating, because it's quite hard to share out. I mean, it's really hard, and so I was always curious about it, and I totally wanted to ask you.
Yeah, so I think it's a bit like how we show up with our names. So we're still individuals, but and also in our art production is in our art production is I think a bit the same, that one of us came with a topic, and sometimes one of us have a huge authorship on it, and the other supported in ways of production, in a production way of objects, films. It's like it's something strange between. We are collective, of course, but also is a work, some kind of collaboration, which you use the knowledge and the technological aspects of each other. We can support us very well in that, but like we say it already in a public, but we, of course, we came or show up as a couple in a way of collective works. And I think, yes, yeah, that's, sorry, I stuck.
Yeah, no, that totally describe it. It's like it's a true compliment. That's what I was when I was looking about how to put it. I totally thought about conceptual complicity. You know, that your complicity goes beyond your partnership, but you have like a productive aesthetics conceptual complicity, which is fascinating. It's totally admirable. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, and I think also, I mean, this supporting each other, I think it's a very important thing. And I think also I can say just to people, they work alone. I mean, to get and find support can very help, even if you're not like or wants to work in a collaboration or collective way. Because I think, I mean, I am not able to do everything, and we really can, help each other out. And that I think also, maybe our topics of this complexity questions and of this assemblage is a bit close to our reality of works. Cause in a way, it's also the work is also produced in an assemblage. So we sometimes producing for ourselves, and then we discuss it all the time, and sometimes we throw also things out, but then we need to find a way to bring this together and to contextualize. It's not that I work with Sergio together on this object on the floor, that we,
Yeah, I don't know if Sergio
Yeah, I
wants
mean,
to add something.
I mean, to talk about this I forget it. You say you talk about.
I call it, like, I baptize it conceptual complicity.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I totally ask it with a lot of admiration, because I totally see how you guys complement each other, and it's unbelievable cool. I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
really great to work collaboratively because of the struggle of the constant discussion, no? And I mean, to really have a match as a partners and as a matching in an artistic practice is like, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, you say it. I mean, 50 or 80% of works are speaking, talking, topics, research, come together, put it in garbage, take it out, and bring it new, make a remix, and at the end, we get something, or we let it by side and take it, I don't know, for another project, in another possibility to show it in form of exhibition, or in form of I don't know, to talk with different peoples that are in the same fields at home, or also or not. I mean, a lot of things be going inspired, and yeah, it's not easy to work in a collective also, but it's also not easy to work as a solo artist. I mean, it's both of them are I think easy, but not easy. I mean, and to find behind, let's say, a art piece, or to think about a field, or I mean, a field can be I don't know, inspiration from a special topic, from a book, or from a movie, or from a music composition, or I mean, or go out in the forest and see these trees and the animals. I mean, yeah, I mean, so everything is inspired us, and I mean, the point that we can work together as a collective is that we let them air be also in we let them breathe or to make procentuality by alone, or we bring it together, or yeah, I mean, so what I want to bring to the point is that we need air to live and to be active in a way to not produce, but to make investigation or research in different fields, and I mean, discussion is one point. We talk a lot, and I mean, this can be a way. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, no, we totally can see it. I mean, it's quite a strong aesthetic you build together. It's we can see like all this research behind and all this discussion in the process of building already, finding out this you know, these aesthetics you build with the footage, with the sound footage, with the film footage. There is a lot of narratives in it that you build, and for that, of course, there is a big process of research, and research implies discussion, no? Implies questioning, no? And questioning needs a dialogue, no? So I can totally see the process, yeah. And I like to open question because otherwise I will monopolize here. Thank you.
Thank you. In the beginning of your first project, KIN, I think it was called, you talked about the interspecies relationship and communication between human and non-human species. And then when I saw all of your projects, I was wondering what is the role of the human being in your artworks? Because for me it had like the feeling that it was merely an after image, because you have like a post-apocalyptic scenario where the human is some kind of cyborg, but it's only like leftover fragments. Then you build like this atomic shelter, but only for non-human beings. And also in your kin work, there were like super spaceships, and then also like primeval bacteria, but the whole in between was left out. And the human was only on the screen, and the Morse code was like a leftover of this human. So I was really wondering what does the human role play in your artworks? Or is it maybe just the observer of the art piece who walks through it and makes the connections that you said? That maybe it's the role of that?
Yeah, I think we really want to give place to the aspects of non-human humanity and being non-human. I think the human in cultural and in social and in artistic ways is very discussed, and also the position. But of course, we connected with each other, and it's always in the piece and in the production is the human aspect, because we are humans, we are not non-humans. And as an example, with the atomic, with the nuclear shelter, I mean, it's not that we not aware of the humans, but they already exist. So we searching for things, in a way, we question things that basically just built and made for humans, but in a way, the rest it's gonna be forgotten with. I mean, also this question of killing pigeons for me is a ridiculous thing. I don't know why. I can really not explain it. That comes very from an idea of everything what is a bit like getting to a problem has to be a go away. And on the end, that principle, that system, is also something which we think can turn again very hardly to human beings. I mean, if we how we treat the environment, how we treat animals, all those systematics behind of it, you can find in a history also with humans. You can find it in a way today. I mean, the slavery times, the way how people get treated, you can find it still in the world. It still happen, but also you can find systematics of that aspects in the animal industrial production. They are pretty similar. So we want to point more on that side, and we not want to left the human out of this. Of course not. Also, humans are very important, and also we.
I mean, it's important to have human here in this room and to listen it to saw or to we try to explain and we try to bring this short images and to bring it or break it down to a piece and
and let the viewer ask what is the own perspective and relation and connection to that question at the non-human side.
Thank you very much. I could really see also if I imagine myself walking through this piece of yours as like interacting as a body with these other maybe anorganic or also organic bodies, like as a piece of the installation myself. And I want to add another short question. If you were to write a script for a sci-fi movie yourself, would there be humans included?
I think so. Otherwise, nobody wants to see it.
Thank you so much for your question.
So, I wanted to ask you something about maybe more practical. How do you present your piece? Because they are very complex, I think. Some thematic you want to communicate about humans, about the nature of the world. And I don't know, because I never saw one of those installations, if there's text or also title, because I think your title are very strong and are like traces that can really help to this mind deeping into the thema, as you described it before. Just like you want to give some trace to your public so they can get into it, but in their own way. And my question were like, if text or like title are very important to you, and if you also present it always, like in this case, for instance.
You mean in this case from today?
No, in this case from the nuclear shell.
Okay, so okay.
Because if I didn't know, if I didn't listen to you and I just stand in front of the object, like which one are my keys to read it?
Yeah, so in first you are right. Title is very important to us. Is also like I think the Hinweis to our work and to our sentences, and all must be also very easy to understand. I think, because I think also to our art production. All about this complexity and all these things they play in our, we sometimes very also self-confused. We really need to organize us again and again, and sometimes we really end up and stuck somewhere. And but it's also important that with that sometimes difficult part and the complexity, that also people can walk to it. They not really have like being so deeply into arts. And I think about the title, you can make it, you can try to make it. And texts are more used in a narration way. It's a part really of the installation, is not to explain something, and we never really worked with a text to our works. And we still not sure if that would be necessary, because I think there is something which is also, it's a difficult word, I know, but intuition, but you know, like to come with your sense, with all your sense into a situation, in each exhibition, in each works you're showing, people showing, artists showing, I think it's really, the really cool thing is, it's not just your rationality which is playing, it's also something which is very physical. The whole the whole body is involved in seeing art and erleben art, and that's very important. So just to give texts to maybe make it a bit clearer, stop that process. And it's also not the idea that people understand the whole piece. I mean, also me, if I look to art pieces, I mostly not understand the whole topic or piece of it. But that's very fine, and other senses get activated in that way.
I just wanted, thank you. And also I think it's now it's a very strong statement to don't have text, because most of people have short text, and it's really a trigger for imagination in that. It's beautiful.
Of course, I mean, in portfolio we have a short text just to make, but not not officially. I mean, it's just in relation to build this portfolio stuff. I mean, that's another term, but yeah. But officially in public ways and in exhibition situations, we're not using yet text. Can change.
Yes, thank you for your question, and I totally agree that a lot of works are contextualized by the environment, and there is always this subjectivity of the interpretation because there are abstractions, but let's say that's why it's not a concrete communication of a statement, and that's why it's very interesting to have them tonight, like or in general in the talks, because then we can have this understanding behind an artwork, which usually in an exhibition you wouldn't get. You get this statement and the piece, but you don't know what is behind the whole process of producing. And and as Angie mentioned it, like a lot of works are, I mean, in relation of the environment, no, somehow. More questions? Who would like to make more questions? No? Okay. Yes, thank you.
I found the first question very funny because I find in all your work a lot of human, maybe too much human. At the beginning, you were saying that you have inspiration, for instance, for the birds in the garden or your cats, and I was wondering what is the inspiration that gives you, because the artworks that you are doing are very rough. You are displaying very rough human products, and so this was my interest, and I was kind of searching, of course, for instance, in the pigeon artwork, you show a little bit, but you don't show a lot about the nature, like the nature in the wild nature. Why you made this choice?
Yeah, I mean, we question really the relation from the human to the non-human aspects, and then I think we always come back to the humans. I mean, to the human side. Wow. And he leave her. Let me alone with this question. Sorry, again. Can you ask again the
Yes,
question?
I want to know, yeah, at the beginning you were saying that you get inspiration from what you see in your garden, in the nature and so on, and you are working with these quite rough human products, and I want to know, yes, in which sense does the nature inspire you, and why you decided not to show the nice part of the nature, or it's rather...
In a way, yeah. In a way, it's the fragility also which is behind of the nature and the creature, which is just also an interpretation of a human view, the fragility of nature, and also the topic of nature. I mean, we maybe have nature is it's a word which is very cultural constructed. As I think. We also not want to reproducing this beautifulness of nature, because this is something which we see, we recognizing already, and which we very feel, and which we also feel very connected with. We want to see what gonna happens when those things gonna be losing and gonna be destroyed, and I think we gonna lose a very important thing with that. We're going to be maybe more and more einsam. Maybe someone can translate this word. Alone, yes, sorry.
Lonely.
Alone. With each plant or each animal we lose. Yeah, we lose something which is diverse and which is very interesting, and I think which is also questioning our imagine of being human very strong. And I think we really turn to a certain kind of crisis. I mean, crisis is always a word like used by politics, but I think in a way of ecological crisis, we will have in the future maybe some very strong changes coming up. And I think it's very important to try with our works also to build a connection, to build a relation, to get in common, not just in a social or in a human aspect. That's also very important, also for us, but also in a way of the rest. What we sometimes maybe in our daily business not that much into connection with. So those birds always remind me on that, because I see them coming, I see them flying. I mean, we have a birdhouse on our balcony. Sometimes they die also on my balcony, and you just watch it and you can do nothing about. And that's something which is always remind me also on the part of nature has a certain kind of a way to produce, or the I would like more to talk about the the terra sempervirens, the green, which is called the green planet. It's has a own way to handle it. Sometimes it's very rough, of course, but we start to also have a very rough, or we are very rough with those environments, basically. And I think really we lose something very, very soon and very fast, so we lose some pieces.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we want to close right now, or somebody got another question. Anne?
Yes, well, if there's no any other question left, I want to thank you very much, and I also want to invite you. Tomorrow there is the Schaustelle, which is a project organized also by them, and yeah, you have the flyers here. I think I bring it quickly. So it's like a alternative market, like for alternative economies, and you're very welcome. It's Friday and Saturday from 4 o'clock till
5:30.
Sorry, 5:30. I don't know. Till 5:30 till later. And you're very welcome. There are a lot of independent producers selling their crafts. And
Also, Anne is there.
yeah, I have some exotic special posers, and I also like to invite you to the last art talks, which is this. I don't know if you see it. This is an artist curator. It's called